Walmart's out of chicken. How leaders create cultures that people really want to join. Not long ago, I had an occupational therapy appointment. I went in, it was my evaluation. I was very uncomfortable. I'm used to being the caretaker, not the one that's being taken care of. I'd never been to occupational therapy before and I didn't know what to expect. I was a little bit frightened. A lot of the people were a lot older than me. A lot of people had some serious issues. So there was a guy there in a helmet. I thought, man, he's got it worse than me. There was a lady there who we spoke a little bit later. She was missing an arm and she was there to learn how to function in a normal society with one arm. I saw a lot of people with limps in their gait. I mean, I know Transformationship, we talk about leading with a limp, so there were people with literal limps and braces and all sorts of reasons why they were there for therapy. When I went up to talk about a payment issue, out of the corner of my eye, I saw this young guy come up. I didn't notice him at first, but I heard this kind of a hilarious, very desperate shriek, "Walmart's out of chicken!" And it caught my attention for a minute. It ended up becoming a song, which you can check on the link below. And I glanced over it. It was a young therapist that was just very expressive. He had his hands thrown up in the air. He was obviously in distress. So one of the ladies at the receptionist desk, she looked at him and she said, well, you know, we're right by Publix. And he said, well, Publix is too expensive. I can't go there. Somebody else walked up and said, hey, wait, today's our potluck. Are you kidding me? You didn't bring your buffalo dip? You promised. So it was kind of a playful banter back and forth. It just was so warm. And a lady came in just at that moment and she had in her arms a huge crock pot. It was still steaming from the house. She's like, don't worry, I've got chicken. Then while I'm still kind of reeling from this comical environment and all of the patients were watching and engaged, one of the older therapists came up actually behind the receptionist's desk and he asked a question about some billing topic and she said, no, you did it wrong. And he looked at her and I felt like for a second that this was one of those moments where it was going to be a teaching moment. I could see his wheels spinning and I was bracing. I was bracing to see what kind of a response this man in authority was going to give to the receptionist. And he looked at her and he said, listen, I'm sorry, help me do it right. The gerbils in my head they're not all lined up yet. And I got such a giggle from that. This whole environment just seemed lighthearted and happy. I went back and began working with my therapist. We got to talking about the chicken dip guy. And she talked about how he keeps the entire office entertained all the time. He doesn't have a lot of inhibitions, just a funny guy, a talented guy. It made me feel so at home as they were evaluating me, asking me questions. It just made me feel a lot more comfortable and at ease. Not once did I wonder about their competence. And it just really struck me that you can build a place where there's banter, there's appreciation, there's engagement with those around you, and you can make really uncomfortable moments be a lot better because of the culture of your workplace. And really that's a lot of what we do at Transformationship is how do you take practical steps to make people want to be where you are. There's almost always some other place that you can go. How do we bring people to us? A huge part of that is culture and the way that people feel when they walk into our doors. Really, I think that that's one of the most profound leadership lessons that I have learned in my experience is how do people feel when they interact with me? How do people feel and learn and grow when they interact with Transformationship Leadership Group and all of the organizations that I touch? Do I leave hurting people feeling a little better physically but not wanting to come back? Or do I leave hurting people hurting a little less? With our competence as well, we can do a good job taking care of people, taking care of their needs, and helping their life be a little bit more pleasant. A lot of times marketing plans, they are built around how do we put ourselves out there, how do we make people aware of us, visibility, how do we help people experience our organization. I've been learning more and more from just life. I've been learning that people don't experience an organization exactly, they experience the people within that organization. How can I help your experience in life and with my organization be better? It is by giving you a positive experience with me. How do I bring goodness to your life? A positive culture emotional gravity. It's strong. It is said that for every negative interaction, you need about 7 positive interactions to counteract that and to leave people with a good impression. So understanding that the human mind, we just want to be safe. We just want to be in a place where things are going to be okay. How can I invest for the people that I serve? How can I give you way more than 7 times the good of my negative human flaws that you might see or experience? How can I feed back to you so that your life is enriched by what we do? That's a part of what we love to teach. Leaders, we always set the emotional tone of a place, whether we intend to or not. If you allow the fact that you're having a hard time because maybe you've come into a new environment or you have a new team member, or maybe it's difficult for you to infuse the culture that you're hoping for, first of all, you want to, of course, try to build your team, help them, grow them, teach them, provide training and resources for them. And then when you have opportunities to bring in more positive people, remember that culture is a little hard to teach. Presence, love, service of people, it's a little bit difficult to teach. So when you have a new slot, go for spirit and service before just competence. I can invest in maybe taking a chance on my 73-year-old nurse that I invited to join our team some time ago, and people were concerned, but I knew in my heart that she might move a little bit more slowly, but that she had a heart in the right place. She did end up taking fantastic care of my patients and loving and really digging into my team. I knew I was taking a chance on her, but if I know that I'm going to get 3 good years out of a fantastic nurse, I know that she can help me build the culture. She can help me grow my newer nurses in my team. So I'm going to accept you with reasonable limitations and let you help me build a fantastic team. So sometimes you patch together a patchwork team, and I like those teams because I love to see the contributions that are different that they can make. So I think most leaders, they understand at least a little bit that anxiety, cynicism, humility, curiosity, hope, they're all contagious. What do we do with those things? How do we put forward the people who demonstrate the better features of our team? How do we encourage that? How do we feed that? Like, find out what people are motivated by and motivate and reward good behaviors, good culture, and put the brakes on when there's negative interaction, when we wear pink on Wednesdays, right? When there's mean girl stuff, when there's backbiting, or how we tend to eat our young, right? How do we put the brakes on that and encourage all of the good things to be contagious? One of the things that I love to invest in is communicating what's expected and celebrating those people, even if they're unusual, even if they're not the more popular ones, celebrating the things that we want to spread in our team. A lot of times people think that playfulness and warmth are competing factors against competence, and that's just not true. I remember watching a movie, a Robin Williams movie, Patch Adams. Yeah, he was brilliant. He was competent. He was weird. And are we okay with embracing playful and loving and different? And can we accept people that don't see things the same that we do? Can we stop in the moment and laugh at ourselves, laugh at our limitations? And can we, like every good pediatric nurse or every good pediatrician, can we stop and be playful and see the brighter sides of life and not work so hard to give a professional appearance or a professional facade? We don't need that. We need to speak confidently and kindly, but it's okay to engage people. It's okay to show our soft side, your humanity, your tears. It's okay. And that's one of the things that I love to teach every day. Sometimes people ask me, what are ways that leaders can intentionally build good, positive culture? And so I have some specific things that I practice on my teams. That sometimes when you get tired or overburdened, you have to kind of back up and start over again, but that's okay. We all make mistakes. We all lead with a limp. Learn people's names. Learn stories about them. I had a nurse that she had the most interesting hobby. Her thing was spiders. She had spider tattoos, and she had a lot of just really interesting knowledge in the area of spiders. And I think her goal was eventually to have like a little zoo or something. Every nurse has a side gig, by the way. I loved trying to keep track and listen to how many spiders did she have. I'm scared scared of spiders. I almost died from a spider bite when I was younger, but the fact that she seemed to have them conquered and she found them so fascinating was endlessly fascinating to me, and I loved to find out what the latest was on her. Learn people's stories, ask to see pictures of the newest grandchild, or just learn the lives and the stories and the hearts of the people on your team. You can also super actively work to make moments of connection for your team. I remember during COVID, I was working in New York City, but we had a squat challenge every day, or every hour actually, every hour on the hour. On day one, we would do 5 squats. So on the hour, anybody who was out in the hallways, who was passing along, people might be gowned up in their N95 masks. So it's kind of comical to see 3 or 4 nurses, 5, 10 physicians and residents and CNAs walking down the hallways, and someone's watch alarm would go off at 2 o'clock and we'd all stop and drop. So we would stop and kind of compete a little bit who could do the deepest squat. And then on day 2, it was 10 squats. And by the end, we were up to maybe 50 squats. It was just these moments of connection. And I will never forget that during those times when we couldn't see anything but each other's eyes, there's something about doing something silly and engaging and physical and stopping and having a moment, having a tradition that really helps you to see not just people's eyes, but their hearts. And it was just really funny to watch as people who weren't involved, they would catch on quickly. And it became just a moment for connection that I think none of us forgot. So create intentional moments of connection, and you will have some people in your team who are very connected and engaged who will own that for you and with you. So create those intentional moments. Another thing too that I think that really helps to build a positive workplace culture is using humor appropriately. You don't want to dabble in the offensive, but there are places to embrace the funny. We had a viral video that was going around, just being shared with us, and just a funny cat video that everyone sent around to the whole team in the middle of the day one day. And you do what you can and you spread a little bit of cheer. So integrate appropriate humor. I love seeing a funny little quote written up on a break room or written up above a nurse's station. So integrate humor. It's a great way to connect with people and make things memorable for the culture of your team. Demonstrate a genuine curiosity. So a lot of people come in and they say hi and how's it going, and someone responds, it's just another hello, or how are you? I'm fine. Maybe stop and say, what's something good that happened in your week? What's something that made you happy this week? Or, oh, you look like you're carrying an extra load. What's going on? Or, hey, wait a minute, we just switched you from full-time night shift to full-time day shift 6 months ago. Why are you switching back? Why are you switching shifts again? And genuinely be curious, and do what you can to help people with their schedule, but genuinely be curious. Why? Well, because I stayed at home with my brand new grandchild, but now we have found help with childcare. So just be curious about the things and the people around you and act like you care. You don't have to be their family to be a place that it's safe and good for them to be. I think one of the most important things for a healthy workplace culture is just to model emotional steadiness. I have a great blog on this about the power of the pause. With the power of the pause, when you have something happen, something going on, a stressful environment around you, when you have even something super exciting, and I have to check myself on that sometimes because I can get overly excited more than a lot of people. When you have something disastrous happen, when you have something sad or angry that is coming into your world, stop. Use the power of pause. Commit to stopping and thinking and pausing before you respond. And you don't even have to outwardly respond until later. So don't turn off your feelings, but pause for a moment and determine how can you be the most steady presence and the most helpful presence for the people around you. A lot of times you'll find that if you're getting ready to react to someone that is and maybe negative, and maybe you're afraid or you're embarrassed or you're feeling an attack from them, if you pause and if you stop and if you allow time for communication and connection, a lot of times that modeling emotional steadiness will be a mirror, or you can be a mirror and help someone come into the emotional steadiness that they need, and you can pull a calmness, a good rhythm into the room, into the team. And if that emotional steadiness comes and becomes a part of your team, people will have a safe place to be. There are times when everyone does get a little bit more emotional, but who is going to come to me and share and connect and communicate because they know that I can absorb their loss, their pain, their stress. And then who have I chosen to be my emotional steadiness? So emotional steadiness and modeling that in workplace culture makes a big difference in, oh, I hate the term psychological safety, but you get the idea, right? People need to know that it's going to be okay and that you're part of the reason that it will be okay. I think another part of healthy workplace culture is just celebrating the small wins. I love the thought of, especially on larger teams, having the employee of the week or the month or the year, or displaying that your hospital floor went 3 months without having a patient fall, or that your team finally made a sales goal that they had been working on for a long time. Celebrate those things, even if it's small things. Actually, sometimes celebrating the small wins are even more important than celebrating the big wins. One time, my team in the monitor room, we enacted a new way of following a certain policy. They weren't doing things that were endangering the patients, but this new policy came along. We have to hold them accountable to how we document things. And so we had really, really slow progress. I think that initially the new way that we asked them to document, we were at like 13% compliance. And it's frustrating because people don't always know why. Like, why do we have to change the way that we document? The patients are just as safe with or without. They gave me a little bit of pushback on this new way of documentation. We started at 13%, and then we went up to 40%, and then we went up to 60%. We kept really, really close track. I invested personally in handling those audits, and I watched their progress, and they got up to over 90% consistently, and I was so proud of them. And even though they felt that it was a little thing because it was just documentation, it wasn't something that they perceived as patient safety, they got to be where they were proud of themselves too. And I would brag about them in the larger team when we had safety huddles. And I was just so very proud of them. And eventually I ordered them some pizza to their, I know nurses hate pizza, but monitor techs like it. Anyway, so I ordered them some pizza, and I actually ordered them a little banner, a beautiful little fabric banner to put bragging on them on their door. And so just celebrate the small things. Make a habit of doing that. So a lot of times people look at my husband and myself and our family, and they see that we actually love each other after being married for nearly 26 years, that we like each other better than when I found him, is what I say. And they see that our family gets along pretty well, and people wonder what extraordinary things that we have done, or sometimes they wonder if we didn't get the most extraordinary kids because they're so respectful and they're so kind and helpful and good to us. No, we didn't, and no, we're not extraordinary. Healthy cultures, they're not built out of extraordinary. They're actually built out of boring. Healthy cultures are built out of doing the right thing one more time, like kintsugi principle. When there's a crack and you fill it with gold, like, I don't have to put that whole bowl back together, right? The process of restoring something messy into something more beautiful and stronger than it was before, it's line by line. Like, what's the next gold line that I can fill this experience with? So it's those boring things. Healthy cultures, they're not made from extraordinary people. They're almost never made from extraordinary situations. Although sometimes if you have ordinary people that make it through extraordinary situations, you're going to see what that culture is. Extraordinary things show what a culture really is. And so I love that it's not some huge task. It's daily. It's kindness. It is accountability. It is putting someone else before your selfish need in the moment. And I'm all about self-care and taking care of ourselves and doing the right thing for number one. I can't assume that people are going to keep coming to work if I don't still keep providing them a paycheck and groceries and a healthy place to work, right? So we need to remember that people are always going to be invested in number one. My first job is to, I don't know, like, keep breathing and keep living and keep walking and waking up. It's important that we know that serving each other doesn't mean putting our own needs aside, usually. But when you take those moments to pause, a lot of times just stepping back, a lot of times you'll realize that what's good for the team is ultimately good for you too. So healthy cultures are built by really boring moments and sometimes by boring people, right? And I love that. It means that it is attainable. We can do this. When people experience you, when people experience your team, but I think when people experience you, what culture are they experiencing?
Braces on my joints, bracing in my head, trying not to replay what the doctor said. Didn't want to need this, didn't want to explain why simple things like living can feel like so much pain. This is the kind of room where you whisper your name, where tape and tendons and pride all strain. People like me pretending not to stare at helmets and slings lined up everywhere. Then suddenly loud and theatrical, young therapist bright and comical, hands thrown wide in mock despair. Walmart's out of chicken and the whole room turned to grin. Publix is too expensive, Buffalo dips in danger, crock pot dreams collapsing, but culture's built